From
Hi,
Wish
this is
TV
Kylie
and
Conway,
the All
and this
Indiana
is your News 8
Podcast
Daily 8
Network.
for
This
Tuesday,
is the
October
News 8
11th.
Daily 8 Podcast
Slightly warmer
with Wish
temperatures
TV's Kylie
and
Conway.
winds are
Wish
expected
TV
for today.
News 8 Update.
Clouds are going to roll in, just get thicker throughout the day. Can't rule out a few straight showers this afternoon and into the nighttime hours. Winds are going to pick up too, gusts exceeding 20 miles per hour at times. Highs are going to get into the mid-70s. Overall, it should be a pretty nice day. More rain chances come into play for your Wednesday. Indianapolis firefighters say 3 men rescued from scaffolding on Regent's Tower are safe and in good spirits, maybe a little bit tired. The whole ordeal lasted about 4 hours after the crew members had worked all day long since 7 in the morning yesterday. According to IFD, Regent's Tower does maintenance on their windows once a year. Firefighters say their biggest concern during the rescue was the potential for a 300-pound window to fall unexpectedly. IFD says 3 men started working on the window around 7:30 last night. They were replacing it on the 19th floor when a steel cable used to raise and lower the window came off the pulley. According to the fire department, the men tried to solve the problem themselves for nearly 2 hours, but called IFD after they decided there was just too much pressure on the rope system holding up the glass. The men did have a backup system, but it also failed when it came off the pulley. Firefighters set up a rope system to lift the window just enough to release tension on the cable so it could be put back on the pulley. Crews then lowered the men and window safely to the 5th floor deck shortly after midnight. Regent's Tower is the third largest building with 36 floors here in Indianapolis. The 3 men were checked on scene by EMS and were released with no injuries. From my teammate, police call the gunfire that wounded 2 teenagers in Lawrence a targeted attack. Investigators say the teenagers had left Lawrence Central School early and were walking home just before 10 yesterday morning on the 46th Street Bridge over 465 when someone in a car fired at them. Police tell my teammate 1 teenager was shot in the shoulder, the other shot in the leg. Officers say the victims are 15 or 16. At last update, police said the teenagers were in serious but stable condition. They say the victims did not recognize the car or the shooter. Also from my teammate, Huntington University athletes and alumni are demanding the school remove 2 coaches tied to a sex abuse and doping lawsuit. I-Team 8 obtained a copy of a petition from former and current female student athletes at the school. It includes 4 demands: the removal of any school administrator or board member who knew about the abuse and failed to act, the immediate removal of coaches Lauren Johnson and Curtis Hines, the banning of Hines, Johnson, and her husband Nicholas Johnson from any access to the university, its facilities, or its students, and the reconsideration of the Johnsons as a part of the university's Athletic Hall of Fame. The petition comes as 2 former athletes sued the school and Nicholas Johnson. They claim the school violated their Title IX rights and failed to protect them from a predatory coach. No word on how many people have signed the petition. I-Teammate also learned the IHSAA is moving one of its cross-country semi-state contests from Huntington University amid the lawsuit. The association's commissioner shared a statement about the decision. Paul Neidig says, in part, with the issues surrounding the cross-country program at Huntington, we felt the potential for a significant distraction was just too great. We certainly hope to return to Huntington for the 2023 tournament. The contest will now take place at Indiana Wesleyan University on October 22nd. In your Vote 2022, this is the final day to register to vote for the November election. You have until 1 minute before midnight to get it done. You can register through the BMV, your county clerk's office, or through the state's website. To do that, you can find much more under the As Seen On section of wishtv.com. You can find a link to register there, find your polling place, and look who's on the ballot as well. In-person early voting starts tomorrow. A local Republican leader is explaining why fewer of his party's candidates are participating in candidate forums. The League of Women Voters is the nonpartisan group that has hosted forums and debates all across the country for decades. This year, the group says 16% of Republican candidates responded to the League's candidate survey, far below the number of Democrats, and many GOP hopefuls are skipping the shared events too. Mario Massalamani is the chair of the Hamilton County Republican Party. He says he is advising Republicans in his county not to participate. The Indiana Debate Commission usually handles debates for statewide races. This year, it's hosting one debate in the U.S. Senate race. It includes the Republican, Democrat, and Libertarian candidates. Newly released emails appear to undercut a claim by former President Donald Trump about documents found at Mar-a-Lago. Trump and his allies have said the General Services Administration packed the boxes of documents sent to his Florida estate. CNN and Bloomberg report the GSA released more than 100 pages of emails and documents proving that wasn't the case. According to CNN, the emails make clear the boxes had already been packed and sat shrink-wrapped in an empty office space in Virginia, as GSA officials plan logistics to ship the boxes. It's unclear if any of the documents retrieved by the FBI in August were shipped by the GSA. The G7 group of nations plans to hold an emergency meeting in the wake of Russia's barrage of missile strikes on cities all across Ukraine. Officials say 19 people died in yesterday's attacks, and more than 100 are hurt. According to the armed forces of Ukraine, Russia launched a total of 84 cruise missiles on 15 sites simultaneously. The attacks spanned from Lviv in the west to Kharkiv in the east. Russian missiles exploded in Kyiv, Ukraine's capital, for the first time in months. Firefighters have been battling the intense flames. Russian President Vladimir Putin says the strikes were in retaliation for Ukraine's attack on the Crimea Bridge this weekend. The U.S. National Security Council says that is unlikely. The missile strikes also prompted international criticism from several other countries, including France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. Fishers will soon enforce a new 1% food and beverage tax. The city council approved it last night in 8-1 vote. According to the city, the money earned from the tax will be used to fund a $170 million event center. The event center will soon be home to the Indy Fuel minor league hockey team. City says the tax will not be paid for by bar and restaurant owners, but instead their customers. The new tax will go into effect December 1st. A Fountain Square Night Spot restaurant is closing. The owner of the Thunderbird posted the news that the bar restaurant will close after 9 years in business. Josh Gonzalez says Indianapolis has changed, and so has he, and he no longer has the same love for the bar industry. He says New Year's Eve will be the bar's final night. All 4 candidates running for IPS school board this fall say they would vote against the district's Rebuilding Stronger plan as it's currently written. Right now, the plan restructures K-5 and 6-8 schools while closing and merging some others. The board holds 7 seats for the district. The candidates say the community deserves to understand what the plan means in full transparency and how it will affect them. One candidate says she didn't see a diverse mix of families making choices at a recent board meeting. She says that makes her question how accessible the meetings actually are. The next Rebuilding Stronger meeting is set for October 17th at 6 p.m. at Arsenal Tech High School. If candidates are voted onto the board, they would begin working in their roles in January. Teachers in Lawrence Township will get a raise. The school board has approved a deal between the district and the teachers. The agreement includes a raise of just more than 4.5% for returning teachers, plus $500 more for those with 2 years' experience. New teacher salaries will increase by just more than 3.4% to $48,000 a year. Teachers will also get a one-time stipend of $2,000. The agreement also includes a salary increase for teachers with a master's degree. Prosecutors say California's First Lady will testify against Harvey Weinstein in his rape and sexual assault trial. Jennifer Siebel Newsom is a documentary filmmaker and actor, and wife of Governor Gavin Newsom. Siebel Newsom's attorney says the testimony is intended to seek justice for survivors. Jury selection in the trial started yesterday and will likely last several more days. Weinstein has pleaded not guilty to 11 counts of rape and sexual assault. He's already serving a 23-year sentence for a conviction in New York. Uvalde School District Superintendent plans to retire by the end of the school year. The school board voted yesterday to start the search for Hal Harrell's successor. The announcement follows months of community outrage over the handling of the school shooting in May that killed 21 people. In a statement, Harrell said, "My heart was broken on May 24th. The major search for victims is over nearly 2 weeks after Hurricane Ian slammed into Florida. An army of 42,000 utility workers has restored power to more than 2.5 million businesses and homes statewide. Now families are returning to their homes, and some schools are starting to reopen. Despite FEMA funding offering some relief, insurance companies may not be able to cover all the costs needed to repair the damage. Hurricane Ian claimed at least 125 lives. That number could rise as dive crews continue to search cars and homes still submerged in water. To business headlines, the websites of multiple U.S. airports were taken offline Monday with the pro-Russian hacking group claiming responsibility. According to Bleeping Computer, the group known as Killnet launched a distributed denial of service attack, making the affected airports' websites unavailable. The affected airports included Atlanta International Airport, Los Angeles, and Chicago's O'Hare. Indianapolis International was not impacted. The FBI is raising the flag on elder fraud after thousands of retirees are scammed out of $1.7 billion. The FBI says over 90,000 elderly people in America were scammed out of $1.7 billion in 2021, an increase in elderly fraud from the previous year. Increasingly, scammers key in on individuals who are not digitally savvy to bilk them out of thousands of dollars through email phishing scams. Verizon announced the launch of 2 new home technologies, home awareness and device identification. Home awareness uses Wi-Fi sensing technology to detect motion and report activity in your home via the MyFios app. With the device ID, customers can monitor their home network for new or previously unrecognized devices. Hulu raised prices for its ad-supported and ad-free subscription tiers on Monday by $1 and $2 per month, respectively. The latest pricing change comes after Disney raised the price of ESPN Plus to $9.99 a month or $99.99 a year. That was on August 23rd. Ad-supported Hulu will now cost $7.99 a month. No ads, $12.99 a month. Amazon is marking the start of the holiday shopping season with a second sales event this year for its Prime subscription members. Prime Days start today, runs through tomorrow. Target has begun its Black Friday sale, which will include half-price electronics and toys. Walmart also said it was offering sales this week for holiday shoppers. The nation's third largest railroad union has rejected a deal with employers renewing the possibility of a strike. The Brotherhood of Maintenance of Way Employees Division voted against a proposed 5-year contract Monday. That's despite 24% raises and $5,000 in bonuses. The union president says railroads didn't do enough to address a lack of paid time off and working conditions. The union says it will now try to get a new deal with top freight railway managers by November 19th. 4 other unions have approved agreements with freight railroads. All 12 unions must ratify their contracts to prevent a strike. The U.S. economy could soon start losing tens of thousands of jobs. That's according to Bank of America. It warns the Federal Reserve's inflation reduction policies could also slow the job market. The company says 175,000 jobs a month could be lost throughout most of next year. It predicts a recession will start in the first half of next year, with the unemployment rate reaching 5.5%. That's 1% higher than what the Fed expects. A pioneering voice is silent this morning. Art LeBeau spent more than 7 decades as a popular DJ, carving out a legacy that goes far beyond the microphone. LeBeau's well-known credit is for coining the phrase oldies but goodies. His most impactful work, though, may have been the live shows he organized in California in the 1950s. They were popular with white, black, and Latino audiences and are now credited as pivotal events in desegregating the state. Art LeBeau was 97 and worked to the very end. His last show aired Sunday night. Finally, a Purdue professor is explaining the potential of a candy shortage around Halloween. Aaron Lowry is an expert in consumer science. He says demand for candy has increased throughout the pandemic. Couple that with the supply chain issues, and some favorites are proving hard to find. Lowry says Hershey has been transparent about the problem, saying it will not be able to meet the Halloween demand, and that competitors like Mars and Nestle will try to take advantage of and ramp up production. He also says inflation is hurting the candy makers. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.